Back-to-back events at this circuit. This time it is a season opener. Welcome along to season 11 of RPL Tier 2. Last season, Hunted won the championship, and he's now moved to Alpine. And now other new faces are in new places. Some drivers return to the same seat, some drivers do not. Others have dropped down a tier. Stenner is one of those drivers, and he is one of the favorites heading into the season. Last season, the driver who won the opening round ended up having a shot at the title. That was Grandpa. And in fact, he's coming in the lobby right now. He's just online. With that being said, we have tons more to look forward to this season. However, let's get you up to date on the season opener circuit details. We're in Sao Paulo once again. Same track, same circuit. Back-to-back races. Not usually a thing you'll see often. Full qualifying instead of short. First time Tier 2 will have that in maybe ever. Hunted can clarify in just a moment. He is with us. We'll get to that in a moment. 50% race, this time without the sprint. And as usual, 36 laps, 15 corners, and as always, this place a very big chance for some rain showers to pop up. Welcome to the event. I am the commentator, Ryan Searles. Alongside me today is Hunted LAX, and we are glad to have each and every one of you join us for more racing here at RPL. Welcome along, Hunted.
Hello. This is my first time back in the commentary box since I commentated Tier 1 back in the day.
And that's a while ago, too.
F1, F1 2019 was the last time that I actually commentated on an RPL race. I think I may have done a couple F2 ones with Matt here and there. The occasional one or two back in the day. But I don't think it's definitely been a while since I've done this.
Absolutely. I'm glad to have you here, and we're glad to talk about a lot of things regarding this season, Season 11. We have tons of headlines to get over, but first, I want to talk to you about your new team. People are probably wondering, you're the Tier 2 champion, why are you not racing? Is it because, once you become champion, you can't race the first race? No, you had a contract deal. You're now at Alpine, and throughout the first couple of races this season, I mentioned in the main chat in the Discord server, I would be doing something throughout the first couple races where one person from each team represents its own team, or its team, I guess you could say, throughout the first couple weeks and talks about it for a little bit in the stream. And the first thing I'm going to have you talk about is, why are you setting out this race? Let the viewers know what's so special about you not racing today.
There's nothing special about it. I offered a contract by George to Haas, which was very nice of him to offer me a seat. My hopes was I didn't really know what I was going to do this season. If I was going to maybe sit it out. Obviously, I took a 2-year break. Whether or not I was just going to continue sitting out, to just hang it up and quit league racing altogether. It didn't necessarily so much come down to what happened during that season. I could have won, I could have lost. I just kind of had to make my decision during the end of it. But I started to get back and started to enjoy league racing once again. So I decided to stick out, and I decided to get myself a contract where George offered me a drive in a Haas, and I had to decline that seat when I got the offer to go to Alpine. But the reason I am sitting out this race is because I resolved my contract for Haas and signed my new contract for Alpine, which isn't allowed without suffering a consequence, which results in the race ban. So hence why I am in the commentary box with Ryan.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here. Now, what's it like switching from Red Bull to Alpine? What does the difference make? And I mean, you've not done a race yet, so you don't really know truly, but what does it make from, I guess you could say, an environment standpoint from you seen?
I'm used to a lot of people I had in a Red Bull. I've known a few of them for a while. I've raced with Tapo and in RPL for quite a while as well. So the change wasn't too big. It's not really a big change anyway. In a sense, I mean, people swap in and out of teams all the time in RPL. It's just one of those things. You get offered a seat, you decide to go there. I mean, look at Reese. He went from Red Bull to winning the championship in Tier 1 down to Alfa Romeo for next season. So it's just kind of what you can get your hands on, really. Also trying to give people equal opportunities in driving in different cars. So changing over to changing over to Alpine is it's a difference because I'm obviously not a Red Bull anymore. I got myself back used to Red Bull. The Red Bull, let's be honest, the Red Bull is the quickest car on the game. So I don't have the advantage now of having a very quick car underneath me. I still have a pretty decent car underneath me, and I feel like I have ample opportunities, or quite a lot of opportunities, to potentially put this car and hopefully put it onto the podium this season. Is what I'd like to do. I think my main goal is to achieve a win at some point during the season. I've done a couple laps in the car heading into Austin next week, where I just wanted to test it out. Obviously, wasn't going to test it out around Brazil. I'm not here, so I decided why not just give it a couple goes and see what it feels like. There's a bit of a difference to get used to. The straight line speed's there on both of the cars, which is a nice feeling to have. You feel it's very both very the Alpine compared to the Red Bull.
You mentioned the F1.5 and F2 days, and something I just wanted to get at for a moment. I don't know. Hold on, the stream is a little bit laggy. I need to refresh to make sure it's not the case now. I think we're just fine, as well as Hunted. I just want to make sure it's not the same way. You spoke about the F1 and F2 days, and early on F1 2019 as well. One thing I want to bring up, our first ever league owner of this league and first ever winner at Bahrain, which we go to tomorrow, is racing with us, returning at Williams. How about you go on board and give us a lap around this track and tell us what it's like from turn 3 onwards from Zazi?
Turn 3 onwards, we're heading down into turn 4. It is a nice couple complex of corners. You don't want to brush yourself out too far wide. You will find yourself losing a lot of speed. Curb, you want to hug this one as much as you can and get as far left as possible onto those curbs there. The curbs in sector 2 are your friends here. You want to get over them as much as possible, especially the hairpin 2 corners back. This one's a little bit more tricky. It's off camber, the grip on the inside. Demonstrated beautifully that. See there? This corner, nailed it. And avoiding the curb, find yourself losing a lot of time around here. This is just a straight dart to the finish line. As soon as you get out that corner, you want to be tucking yourself as far in as possible over onto the screen. The final sector, other than not over the line a little bit, Invade decides to top him.
There you go. We have 2 drivers still yet to set laps, or not on a lap at least. That is Lennon and Mythic. We're going to go on board with Lennon while that happens. I do recommend you go on the stream point of view to see where I'm at most times. It did help Owen a little bit, I must say. Since we spoke about Zazi and his return to full-time racing in RPL, let's talk about our other headlines on board with us. Chat, get us some predictions now, because we got some full qualifying underway for Tier 2. That's a first. So let's go over some headlines. Serving his last race of his race ban. With that said, FBL, if he were to show up today somehow, I don't think he's going to, he has a qualifying ban. Also as well, Valkyrie just joined the lobby. She's got her own race on board. Look at it, because she could not race last week due to a race ban on penalty points. This is the first time the circuit is the Tier 2 season opener. Also with that, you have Gecko going from the Alpine Academy. He was racing for Alpine to Ferrari Academy. He is now racing for Alfa Romeo. Mythic, Red Bull Academy to Ferrari. Mercedes Academy to the Red Bull Academy. Wavy, a full season return. Zazi return. He's at Williams. Owen, Vegas is the finale. Tracks like Portugal, Saudi Arabia, and Zandvoort not being on the calendar since Season 2, returns. And we have a couple other things as well. Recently, we have Chaz's reserve contract just before the race being resolved. A little feud between Red Bull and Ferrari. Maybe that's a good thing you're out of Red Bull now, I guess you could say, in that sense, Hunted. And Alpine, since we're going to speak about all teams, Alpine have some recent signings. Get to any more questions, Hunted, and then we get to straight to action with Q1. We have yourself, Bonkers, Instincts, and Epic Lexer, the drivers who are scheduled to miss today's event.
Yeah,
So, go ahead.
One of my best tracks on this game. I think it's been my successful track in League Racing as well. So it's the one I did not want to miss.
Yeah. No, I hear you. You won here as well after penalties. How about you, while I try to fix the lagginess from the stream, how about you go over the top 3 from what do you call it?
I won in Brazil in the main race, but someone who I feel like deserves a better shot in part of the this league in terms of maybe a better car underneath him is Lennon. I can say that firsthand from battling him in a final race. Lennon was really good. He came from the back in both races and won on track in the first one, I think, and won on track in the second one as well. A couple of Verstappen tactics to push me out wide from overtaking him. JTK as well, finished P2 in the race. I mean, JTK, I'm sure, is pretty happy that I'm out of that Red Bull now. And I'm not a teammate anymore. We have been speaking quite a lot. I mean, me and JTK were pretty good friends through most of the season. We did have a few ups and downs, but I do wish him the best in that Red Bull. Hopefully, he puts in some performances this season. I feel like he's got some real threats in those Ferraris. I feel like that Ferrari are going to somewhat dominate this season. And Valk also making her return for her home race as she drifts it in turn 1 and spins it. And she's just set a lap. She's put herself into P16. And I thought she finally came on track. Is Tadpole even racing? He is. He's in the McLaren. Tadpole in the McLaren season. Tadpole's definitely someone not to be taken lightly in that McLaren, and also the same as Grandpa as well. I mean, the return of Grandpa in that McLaren, he was very quick last season. It's definitely nice to see him back. Hopefully, he has another stab at the championship this season round, which I'm sure he will do. Grandpa put up a huge challenge against him last season, and I'm pretty sure he's feeling pretty confident going into the season, knowing the season he just had, obviously, but coming off the back of 3 DNFs. Tier 1, and we know that Tier 2 as well, and we know he's not a slow driver, Grandpa. We know he's very quick when he wants to be, especially. I think he's got his tracks. I think some tracks he struggles out a little bit as he gets a little bit out of shape there on his lap. So he'll have another go at the championship, but as far as this goes, I feel like it's going to be a bit of a Ferrari whitewash potentially this season.
Yeah, for sure. For those of you just noticing, lag on the stream is not good at all. I am going to try to fix that quickly by restarting the stream. You should not miss anything in this qualifying session. We should be back in about 60 seconds, maybe 2 minutes at most. I apologize for that. I tried hard resetting it, the Xbox, beforehand to try to make sure that didn't happen, but I guess you can't always prevent everything. So those of you tuning in, stick with us. We are going to be back in just 60 seconds.